Hi there, listeners. One quick favor. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It'll make a difference and help others find the podcast. Thanks. Welcome to Not Suitable for Work. I'm your host, Peter C. Diamond. You think your office is nuts? Wait until you hear some of these stories.
It's a story I tell people as a cautionary tale of what not to do in a pressure-filled situation.
It gets to a spot where I think I'm making this connection, but what I'm not attuned to is maybe this has become a little bit too much of a visual demonstration.
What about our professional dynamic has given you a license to act in this way?
I realized she's kind of a mean girl.
With each podcast, I interview folks who have a humorous work story to share. Along the way, I'll offer advice to help you make sense of your own office nonsense. Don't worry, no careers were harmed in making Not Suitable for Work. Names and places may have been changed to protect the not so innocent. Without further ado, let's get this show on the road. In this week's episode, we take a peek behind the scenes of being a real estate broker with my guest, Vince Williams. He shares his story of learning more than he would like to know about his client, the hoops he had to jump through in trying to sell a house, and how he finally had to say, enough is enough.
I was referred to a client that had this outstanding space in Uptown, 3-bedroom, 3-bath duplex down. And if you're familiar with real estate and purchasing and seeing some of the new things that they have out there, this was kind of innovative, with the 10-foot ceilings and the granite and just, you really don't find 3-bedroom, 3-baths, in the city as much. And
so this was kind of a, kind of a plum listing to get.
Exactly. $650,000. So it's putting you in the upper percentile of the market, or what at that time in the early 2000s that clients were looking for.
And so would you say, where are you at kind of in your career in doing this? So
a few years in.
So you're young, you're ambitious, you're driven, you're determined.
And speaking volumes to being referred to this client in that price market too, saying, Vince is innovative. He's thinking outside of the box to sell things in kind of a changing marketplace.
And was this? Would you say was this your biggest listing?
No,
it was not your biggest listing.
It
was a kind of an interesting.
Well, new area.
Because
you have to think in the early 2000s, the Uptown, area was still being gentrified, if you will. And so it was new for me. I was not that familiar with the area of the city, so I had to do my due diligence and uncover where the coffee houses were and what the school districts were like, and things like that. And this was prior to having all the applications due today to kind of find out, is this a good neighborhood or not,
So tell me a little bit about, you are representing the seller.
Yes. The seller was referred to me by a past client that I had sold their property that was kind of a hard sale, meaning that it was an original property and just, smaller bedrooms and some different, I needed to take a different marketing approach to it. So I basically introduced it to artists, and I took an ad out in the stage bill, and so when you opened up while you're at the play, you're like, wait, there's a property in here. I need to go and see this because it was something different. Well, successfully sold that for $2 million. Wow. And so to have this referral now with that was just, it spoke volumes. And not that this was an original property in that sense, but because it was, again, a new area of the city that I think a lot of people probably weren't thinking of, it took a different approach for me to tell this seller, hey, not only will I market this to different types of buyers, but also with other realtors that may be afraid to come into the area because, again, gentrification is happening and they're just like, yeah, I'm not ready to go over there.
It's a little bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But ultimately the goal is, sell my property in the time frame that I'm looking for. And so, That's what I went for.
So that was a challenge you took on.
Exactly.
Great.
Mission impossible, right? So if you choose to accept this challenge,
You got the little tape recording, and then afterward it kind of like poofed and we're gone. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was outstanding. It was great. One of the things that I think, and you may have seen, have heard some other horror stories about being a broker. There's the great movie with Annette Bening and Kevin Spacey.
American Beauty.
American Beauty. And she's a realtor. And she got there early and she's vacuuming. Well, that's exactly how it is in this life, in this particular type of profession, especially if you have a home or have a seller that is not, just doesn't get it. And so that's...
And when you say doesn't get it, do you mean like from I need to think about like staging this for other people?
Exactly.
Decluttering.
Take the religious relics off the wall. No one needs to see really what happened at the trip to Marco Island last year or anything there, things like that. So, and sometimes that can be a challenge because even though a seller wants to move their property, they still don't want to disrupt their own personal life or their living space. And so for them to come home to say, well, it's so sterile in here, do I want that? And that's kind of a challenge. So as a broker, what you do is you say, I'm going to try to help make this as painless of a process for you as possible. But what I'd like to do is help you start to move. So put it to them, a different way. Let's pack up some of this for now. But I really liked it. But yeah, you have
to pack it up anyway.
Exactly.
So, let's start now. Of course.
Let's get it done now. Well, my challenge with this, in this particular case and scenario, the seller just refused.
Like flat out refused.
I am not disrupting my life at all for you to sell this property. You're going to have to sell it just how it is. Which meant I got there a half an hour early. I'm cleaning floors, sweeping up dog hair, making up the bed.
And did you get a sense of this at all when you met him? And
not at all. I mean, I saw some little things, but that's the challenge. Everyone loves a good challenge. Bathroom. Can you imagine going into someone's bathroom and there's just hair everywhere? First of all, that's grounds of divorce immediately for me. I am done. I'm out of here. Why is there 2-week-old toothpaste in the sink? Why is, the area around the toilet seat just disgusting? I don't even know how you could even, things like that.
And you said like it's also fairly new too.
Yeah, right? Maybe a few years old at the time. Yeah, exactly.
So clearly, but
well lived in.
Yes.
Definitely well lived in. And but I took it as a challenge. Like, again, I'm going to get my name into this area, into this particular space. And but it was interesting because the seller was someone of a well-known position, in a great position in corporate America, but to see how they lived was just shocking, Like, really?
Okay. It's because in one of the...
Let's fist bump instead of shaking hands, In
the first episode that we had, one of the guests talked about being in her boss's car.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden when you're in someone's car, like what that
Welcome
says
to
about
my
them,
world,
right?
Yeah.
So here you are every day you're walking into someone's house and
into
you
your
see
world. Yeah. It changes your entire perspective, and it really did become, we'll just fist bump from this point going forward. I see how you live. So I took it upon myself, and I was that broker. I no longer practice real estate now, but I was that broker that I got there early, and if there was paper in the front yard, I got gloves on and I'm picking the paper up. I'm going to show this property. I'm the Annette Bening, vacuuming ahead of time. And that's literally what I had to do at this place. But what I would love to share with your audience is that a particular instance of doing a showing there, knowing that, go ahead.
And how many showings? So I guess leading up to this, like how many showings?
Maybe 4.
4.
Prior to this particular instance.
So
it had become routine to get there a good half an hour earlier to prep.
And now in the first one, did you get there early? Did you realize that you needed to get there early?
Yeah, and I always do.
Right,
It was
just part of
just part of how I do. I've had mentors in past positions, and they would always say, Vince, 15 minutes early or you're late, And so I just applied that. Again, this is my own business. Real estate is, it's just you. Every person you meet, every contact, it's all for you. There's no one micromanaging or on your shoulder. So I took that to heart and just made sure that I was always ahead of time. Or if I were running behind because of our great Chicago traffic or anything there, and this was, again, when cell phones were still new, if you will. But I would call, hey, stuck in traffic or something there. But I liked to be that greeting person at the door. Yeah.
So we're at showing number 5.
Showing number 5. Get into the property. This time I was maybe 45 minutes ahead of time because it was past the weekend and who knew what I was going to walk in on or something there, But again, just preparing myself. Made sure, of course, that the dog was gone because I would always call and say, hey, I have a showing on this date, and this is what's going to happen, and preparing. Well, I must share with you, Peter, I get into the property and I think that a tornado or Hurricane Irma had gone through this place. Obviously, it was a party weekend. And if I can share with you that I literally picked up used condoms on the floor. There was a sling still hanging from the ceiling in the bedroom. I didn't even know how to get it down. And I'm thinking to myself, I got to cancel this showing. There's no way in heck, that I'm going to do this. And I need to renegotiate my rate now. Because
this is hazard pay.
Yeah,
this is hazard pay.
You're not even paying me enough for this. And so I sat there for a while like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do
have
this?
Have you ever, prior to this?
Never.
Anything even close to this?
Never. Well, I take that back. I had another client that had a toddler and, toys.
All right.
Put the toys up, or at least contain them to one room or something like
these
that.
These are toys.
But this is an adult. Come on.
These are toys.
This is a $650,000 home that I'm trying to sell for you. I drive a $40,000 car. If I take it to get the oil changed and they don't put those little mats down, we're having a problem, right? Now, you want me to sell a $650,000 property, and this is what I have to walk in on? Yeah. So, very interesting. Put on my gloves.
Which are now kind of part of your... It's like your.
This is my kit.
It's your kit.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you have the
tool belts.
Exactly, the tool belt with the 409 over here, and the hole with the face and the nose mask. The breather on. I was prepared, but I had no idea that this is what I would walk in on, and I got it done. I got the sling down. I got it under the bed. I threw away other things, but it was one of the worst. It made me rethink things. Like, you know what? Just take your listing back. I really don't want this that bad. And he got a verbal lashing, an absolute verbal lashing. And this was prior to, again, being able, I had a little digital camera. This prior to the phones having all the great capabilities they do now. But I figured I just need to, telling the story to friends. They're not going to believe this. They're going to be like, oh, Vince, you're just, you're blowing this way out of proportion. I'm like, no, I want to come over here and see this, Amazing.
So, but how do you, right? So it's your client.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, having spent many years
that was a referral.
In a service business, that's a client, that's a referral. How did you handle that conversation?
Well, after the showing that went successful, now this wasn't the buyer. And I did sell the property. We just had a coming to Jesus moment. And I did have to speak with my seller and say, look, I realize that you did not want to disrupt your life in the selling of your property. But what I walked in on today is not going to happen again. yeah, I'll do the little things like get your garbage out or something there. I'll pick up out front the little dog hairs or something like that. I'll close the toilet seat cover because you just don't want anyone walking in on that. I said, but as a marketer of homes in the higher end, and you are a great referral, it's just not going to happen. Nor will I represent you if this is how you want to do it. And I had to put my foot down, if you will, in that aspect. And he got better. He got a lot better. I never did have to walk in on something to that scale of or magnitude of just chaos and filth, and I can tell it was just something else.
And did he acknowledge at all? Like, did he ever say?
Well, here's the interesting thing with it. I really tried. Although I've always wanted to have a great relationship with referrals and clients, especially when you're selling something as personal as their home, because you are in their space and they're inviting you into their space and they're trusting you with their valuables and things like that. I still never wanted to get very personal with them in that sense. And I say that, and I guess another way would be when they would try to tell me about some of their financials or what they needed to do to get out of the property, or what they were looking for with a mortgage person, I would say, talk to my guy here that handles mortgages. I just didn't want to know the financial side of it. I know what I can sell this property for. I know what you need to do to back out of it. Here's my rate, but I didn't want that. So I applied that same thing as far as knowing about their personal thing. I knew everything about him now.
And you didn't.
And I really didn't want to know. Really didn't want to know, but I saw the toys. I saw you partied. You definitely partied. So changed my entire view. I look at him side-eye now, How you doing?
Do you still know him?
Do.
Okay.
Yeah, still in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, how you doing? And, but it was, everything's a learning opportunity. And so I took that as, or a coaching moment. So coaching for myself was, okay, not everything's going to be, peaches and cream or roses and something
roses and unicorns.
Yeah, exactly.
So how long did it take? So how long did it take you to finally?
I sold it in 6 months.
In 6 months.
Yeah, which was a pretty great situation. I was coming into the season now where homes were moving a lot faster in the summertime, people out of work and things like that. Mortgage rates were doing good before the big bubble burst and things like that. He was impressed. I received a few referrals after that from him, and then he allowed me to help him buy a new home.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
He was pleased with my
and
services.
you were okay continuing to work with him.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah. Again, when you're in your own business, you kind of you bite your tongue, if you will, sometimes. And, I'm not going to put all morals behind me, but I will turn a blind eye, to some situations. And so.
And it sounded like he wasn't, he other than maybe from some hygiene
you knew
issues.
I was doing that showing that day.
He
and you still didn't,
But he did. He also didn't. He wasn't a kind of like a shyster or something. Like he wasn't out to try and screw you. So he was.
No.
So
I think he did find it comical though to put me
put
in
you
that
through the
situation.
paces.
Yeah, put me through that situation and say, and this was again prior to you being able to put up a Nest camera to see someone's reaction or observation or something there. But I'm sure he was probably thinking, he's gonna love walking in on this,
And I know he's gonna, and I know he's gonna fix it,
right?
Because he's already demonstrated the fact that that Vince is gonna do.
I'm gonna go above and beyond.
Go above and beyond.
Yeah.
So he's So it kind of sounds a little bit like an episode from like $1 Million Listing. Like if there was $1 Million Listing Chicago, it would be the
I love that
I've been given the worst challenge in the world, and look at
Absolutely.
this. And
the
then
seller from hell.
The seller from hell. And oh my God, what am I going to do? And dun, dun, dun.
What are we walking in on
what are we walking in on
today?
today?
You know, and I'll let the cameras go in first or something.
And then I save it with, making the big deal. And
put my cape on and walk
So
out.
is anything in real estate like, I've never worked in real estate, is it anything like what
But
they
you've
have?
purchased homes before, so you know what it's like. I'm sure you've walked on
I've
some
been here-
properties.
And
you're like, how are they trying to sell this?
I do
Really?
remember one property I walked into, and when I bought my current place, I probably looked at 40 different.
Oh, you put
places.
your realtor through hell.
Well, no, a lot of them I did on my own. So,
Oh, really?
So a lot of
Okay.
them I just went to
Nice.
open
Did your own
houses.
deal.
But I remember walking into one, and it was in Lakeview, which is kind of a north part of Chicago, and it was an old brownstone 3-flat. I mean, you could barely walk through the place. Literally, there was like a path to get through. And I just thought, how the hell are you going to sell this? Like, it's impossible. And I
couldn't
really
see beyond the
no,
the
of course
clutter.
not. And I'm like, I don't want to see
Yeah.
people living like, I just didn't want to see it. But
Did
that
you immediately leave?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Absolutely. And
That's the
and
challenges
that's the
of
challenge.
exactly. And it's amazing to me that some sellers, they don't get it. And I'm like, reverse this. Put yourself in a buyer's shoes. If you walked into your home like this, what would you do? Honestly, if you went to Starbucks and there was a used cup, you're gonna do some. There's some splaining going on here. I need to see a manager or something there.
That's great. Yeah.
And not to say lightly of it, but again, I looked at it as, this isn't just your typical $100,000 property or something. You're asking someone to really spend, over $500,000 on something that, are you kidding me? That's in this type of condition. So similar to what you experienced, where I can't even walk through. So how am I even going to imagine my furniture here or myself living here when I can't even get through it?
And as the broker, how do you? I mean, you can only dance around that so much.
Absolutely. So you do.
There's only so much smooth talking you can do.
I'm Vince
when
Williams,
I know
man.
you are,
Come
man, and you're very smooth. But even that's like kind of.
Let me paint a picture for you.
Let me give you.
This is not a blank canvas here, but can you imagine this here?
If this wasn't up and this was
exactly, yeah.
So what would you say? Either like looking forward, right, from this experience, what have you been able to take from this and use today?
Absolutely. I always look at every opportunity. In the business, when you work for yourself, when you're looking for new clients and things like that, if you're customer service oriented and you really take care of your clients, that speaks volumes to your referrals, to your business, to your own work ethic. And so what I took from this was not every situation is going to be peaches and cream or hunky-dory. I'm not going to walk into the ideal, I'll sell this home in 1 week. I looked at it as there's always going to be a challenge. I love a good challenge, and I'm going to prove that I can do that, because I like a good challenge. Come on, give me more. No, really, don't. But
you got it, man.
Yeah, I did. I definitely got it. So a takeaway would be, and that's applies in everything in life. You're going to go to a restaurant that's going to be referred, a recommendation by a good friend, and they just, oh my God, this was the best burger I ever had, or the best, steak I ever had. And you get there and you're like, really? So I apply it. I look at it as a situation like that. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes all referrals aren't going to be good referrals, but then I also take it to heart as not all business is good business. And it doesn't mean that I have to do business with that person or take their business, accept their business. And though I did not want to, because again, this was a great referral and this person was the potential for more bigger referrals and, working with an organization that maybe I could start getting when they're transplants in Chicago. Yeah, exactly. Corporate listings from. I just was looking at the big picture of it. And so it helped me to adjust my my customer service savvy skills.
And I also, you also realized that while how he may have handled this situation wasn't great, he was still a good person, like someone that you could work with, in good faith for future
Absolutely.
future things.
Never take a drink from his home. Is there bottled water? I'll have a bottle of water.
Hey, those are like the important things, right?
Absolutely.
We're gonna fist bump from now on.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because to see them, that, when you know something about this, it's almost like when you have coworkers that don't wash their hands after, and they walk up to you and you're like, no, I'm good.
It's okay.
I'm good. I kind of,
here's the elbow, man. All right.
And they're like, what's going on? Well, you never know that about a lot of people, And so, again, being introduced into their personal world,
space.
if you will, personal space, makes you decide, do I really want to be friends with this person? But if you're forced to work with them, or in the case where they are a valued client, you just kind of turn the other way and just like, all right, I'll get through this. I'm just going to, put some antibacterial things in my toolkit and keep going,
Vince Williams, thank you so much for being Not Suitable for Work.
Thank you so much, Mr. Diamond.
All right. Vince's story demonstrates what great lengths someone will go to make a sale and retain a satisfied client. But even the most dedicated and ambitious professionals know where to draw the line. If you want more Not Suitable for Work or have a work story to share, be sure to follow us on Facebook at Not Suitable for Work. You can find our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts. If you have a question you want answered on a future episode, call us at 872-256-0827 and leave us a message. I'm Peter C. Diamond. You can follow me on Twitter at Peter C. Diamond. Not Suitable for Work is produced by Matt Cunningham at Truthful Enthusiasm. Get your story online with truthfulenthusiasm.com. Until next time.